Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the High Elves, who shall be led by Teclis, and the Beastmen, who are going to be led by Captain Dreadlocks himself, Morker the Shadowgave. So as far as the build goes, here in the front line, we do have 4 groups of the White Lions, and I feel like White Lions are pretty good against Beastmen. They're able to beat pretty much all of the low-tier Beastmen infantry, so if they decide to go wide, for example, and bring like Ungors and Goreherds and things like that, they're going to be able to smash those guys pretty easily, and certainly will be quite tanky in the process with their 90 armor and 37 melee defense. However, against Bestigors, it's a little bit of a harder matchup because Bestigors kind of fundamentally have very good offensive stats, right? 40 melee attack, 40 weapon strength, a huge charge bonus of 35, which for infantry is very, very solid. So they're going to be able to get the White Lions through their martial prowess very quickly, therefore making them, much weaker, right? They're going to be losing, I think, 12 melee defense when they get to that point, 2 melee attack. But nonetheless, White Lions do have good AP, so they can still punch back, and I feel like they're a safe pick. Granted, maybe putting them in the second line might be better, but something to try out later. So here in the Archer ranks, we do have 2 groups of the Lothran Sea Guard, and these guys are great against Beastmen. Obviously, Beastmen are a fairly lightly armored faction. Minotaurs, I think, have 35 armor, and aside from like Bestigors and a couple other units, they're very lightly armored. So these guys with their missile attacks are going to be able to do solid damage, and the Beastmen are often flanking with Razor Goreherds and Minotaurs and Centaurs and things like that, and these guys are very resilient against them in melee. They have anti-large, they're just stalwart with charge defense against large foes, and they have pretty good defensive stats. 44 melee defense is certainly no joke. So 2 of those, 1 group of Spearmen in reserve. We do, of course, have Teclis for nets, Enfeebling Foe, and Regrowth. So Regrowth is super important if you bring like a big dragon or dragon princes or anything like that. So the Star Dragon certainly has its work cut out for him. There's a lot of angry beasts over here, but the Star Dragon, can mass terror out Beastmen. On top of that, the breath attacks are very powerful, and he's just a powerhouse himself. He's able to chew down Morker. The tankiest of beast shall fall before his wretched maw here, so we'll see how the Star Dragon does. We have a couple groups of Reaver Archers, going to be trying these guys out. I used to bring them a lot when 2 first came out, when Total War Warhammer 2 first came out. I feel like they're pretty good against Centaurs, Cygors. If they have like a big Cygor in the back, you can ride around and just shoot them with arrows. They're actually able to really fight Centaurs in melee as well, so they're kind of a very versatile unit here in this matchup. So we're going to be trying to drop some bows on these guys and, see how it goes. We got some regular Reavers on the flanks, I believe, 1 and 2, just to kind of deal with flank pressure, and that is pretty much it. So for my opponent's army, it's going to be the Great King of the Dead here in the front line. He's got Bestigors, Koroks, Manrippers, and more Bestigor herds. He does also have Ungor Raiders and 2 groups of Minotaurs in the back. So he does have the Butchers of Kalkengard and the regular Minotaurs, which both have silver shields. So I didn't bring too many archers, so I'm not going to be able to just burn them down like Sisters of Averlorn might be able to, but nonetheless, we have a little bit of pressure, but these guys are going to be quite scary for my White Lions. He's got some spears in the back, Ungor Spears, the Destroyers of Drakewald. He's got some Chaos Warhounds, as well as Baconators. Baconators are a very good choice against my armored infantry, so they're going to be spooky, and they are large entities. Okay, just wanted to double check that. So 2 groups of Bacon, and that's pretty much it. It looks like a Deathcaster as well. Death is always very good against High Elves. If they do come with like Dragon Princes, Fated Bunus is going to be super good, and you can see here, very good play by King of the Dead. Going to be juking my Dragon Breath. So on that note, guys, let's get this show on the road and see how it goes. So first breath attack going to be coming in. We get a little bit of an okay splash. We are able to cleave some of those foul beasts. I think in total we maybe take out like 1 model. Yeah, there was only like 1 Beastman who like exploded there, but it does some okay HP damage. But I was testing him. I was seeing if he was paying attention, and unfortunately for me, he was. Now back in the distance of the map, there are some Hounds vanguarded as well, and the Hounds are pretty good against Lothran Sea Guard because they don't get their bonus for large. In the meantime, my guys on the flanks, the Illyrian Reaver Archers, are going to be shooting into Minotaurs just pretty much the entire game. We're just going to be shooting those guys. And my Reavers, I'm going to be pulling them back because I realize my frontal formation here is going to get crumped pretty bad. He's got Baconators, he's got Minotaurs, and White Lions, they do have decent defensive stats, but they're still going to get run over by all that AP and like heavy punch. So I pulled the Reavers back to use as kind of a frontline roadblock unit, and the other Reavers are going to be circling around the back trying to get onto those Archers and do some pretty good damage. So the frontline fighting is about to be underway. Going to continue to shoot into the Minotaurs. I know I have to work those guys down, and some of these foul beasts are going to be advancing. The White Lions will be meeting them head-to-head in combat, and the Reavers are also going to be charging in to try and break their charge a little bit, and it certainly goes pretty well. That initial fight, not bad. It looks like we got the upper hand there. In the center, we do have the White Lions actually doing a ton of damage to the Koroks Manrippers, but I'm also going to be lining up with Dragon Breath. So right here you can see the Star Dragon going to be getting a nice little Walmart breath on those guys, but it looks like a King of the Dead very on point with his micro. He does pull back at the last second, avoiding most of that damage. Now over here, the White Lions are getting pounded pretty bad by the Minotaurs, and this is what I was worried about, right? These White Lions just getting overrun and just beaten down by these giant angry cows, at which point my back line certainly is a little bit bare bones. Investing in a Star Dragon is very expensive. It costs 2,400 gold, so you're certainly going to be lacking in other areas of the battlefield. Now the Minotaurs here are in pretty good shape. The other ones, the Butchers of Kalkengard, also in good shape. But this flank is going quite well. We are able to smash these Bestigors right here. You can see a Spirit Leech is going to be going down to the Star Dragon, but nonetheless, he's doing a pretty good job for himself here. And I do miss horribly with the Fiery Convocation. I did have it lined up with the Archers, but they moved at the last second. And I also collapse inward here with my Reaver Archers, trying to get on his Raiders. And on the other side, Reavers are actually a really good answer against Baconators. They can just outduel them like heavily up close. 24 and 16 for combat stats against 32, 36. Certainly going to be pretty good for the Reavers, considering their unit count. Now in the front, King of the Dead is pushing through. The Koroks Man Rippers are going to keep cleaving through. I mean, they're not ripping the dudes here. I guess they're elves. They're not men, so they don't get their innate bonus. Like, they don't really have them, but you guys get the point. But the Reavers, or the Man Rippers, are going to be pushing through, and you can see the white lines here are buckling. I do pop a regrowth, and in the back I do pull the Star Dragon to kind of peel off and tear out some of those hounds real quick. But you can see the beast herd is kind of just pouring in. Again, though, whenever you're playing Beastmen, always be aware that the bounce of power and what you see isn't like a true reflection of the current state of the game, because there's Chaos Spawn, there's Cygors, they're very, very powerful in regards to the bounce of power. And these Chaos Spawn are going to be disappearing, these ones will, and then their power level is going to be significantly weaker. I'm going to be charging in Reavers, trying to kind of just pin down this front line, allow my archers to keep shooting and stabilizing my other fronts. In the meantime, the white lines on the other side, where they were in a vacuum and were able to fight like one-on-one, did a very good job. They were able to beat down these Baconators. Plus, also did some pretty good damage against the Ungor. So from here, they're going to be pulling back in and hopefully helping to salvage this middle situation. So I did push in the Star Dragon. He took a lot of damage from Spirit Leeches and the Butchers of Kalkengard, so that was pretty rough there. It actually put King of the Dead ahead in regards to the bounce of power. So one of my first, substantial mistakes here in this game. I mean, there's been a couple, but that was a really big one, letting the Dragon take that much damage. However, Teclis, Benedict Cucumber Patch, as he's also known, is going to be dropping some fat heals, so we do get a regrowth off in the Dragon, and I believe I have enough Winds of Magic for a couple more heals, so that's going to be quite nice. So at this point, the Beastmen, the Chaos Spawn are all disappearing, so you can see the bounce power is starting to normalize a little bit here, but still there's a ton of angry beasts. He does have the Koroks Man Rippers here, he's got Bestigors, and the Butchers of Kalkengard are certainly going to be a huge problem in this game. I do have a bit of ammunition, though. You can see the Reaver Archers have ammo, Lothran Seaguard have pretty good ammunition, and these guys have good ammo as well. So if I can kind of cover with the Reavers, push in, cycle charge a little bit, and then start getting some very healthy Archer fire, also use the Dragon as kind of a menace or a threat just to kind of keep them honest, we could be in okay shape. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to try and pull them apart, but it's certainly doable. Now, Teclis is lurking somewhere. I'm not sure where Teclis is. There he is. He's kind of just hanging out. He does have the Potion of Croy. We're going to be charging in some of these Reavers just as a sacrifice here, trying to shake and break these Vestigor herds. We're also going to be kiting back with the Reaver Archers, so just trying to pull back and get damage on these guys, and hoping the Minotaurs will overchase, at which point we can swoop in with the Dragons and take them out. So the Dragon is going to be landing, but at the last second I do Tokyo Drift and decide I don't want that fight. It was a little bit scary, and we're also going to wait for the White Lines to get in there, because once the White Lines and the Dragon can fight on top of them, I feel like it's going to be a better situation. Reavers are able to clean up the Baconator herds on the flank, and over here my archers are shooting quite happily, and we're actually able to smash these Bestigor herds. So things are going well in certain respects, but still at the end of the day, he still does have a Deathcaster, 47 of the Koroks Man Rippers, and then he does also have Captain Dreadlock. So that's going to be tough. Worker is certainly no joke. Now up in the skies, I'm going to be getting Spirit Leech, but I will also be responding with the regrowth here. And this was a very bold strategy, Cotton. I wanted to jump in here and see if I could get a Terror Route, maybe burn down his Deathcaster. I figured I had the white line, so it'd be relatively safe, but you can see King of the Dead reacting very quickly, getting his Minotaurs and the Butchers of Kalkengard and swarming in there. I will be dropping a Fiery Convocation as well, going to be trying to spit roast some of these foul beasts, and I still have all my archers shooting and doing their thing. And the Star Dragon, it needs to escape. If I want any chance of getting back in this game, I need to escape with it. But alas, well, that was a good one. The Bestigor herds as well as the spears actually took some pretty good damage there, and the Dragon does escape and is relatively healthy. So there are some things that are going well. Ungors are breaking, Bestigors are breaking. We're certainly going to be chasing those guys off. The Destroyers of Drakwold in the back are doing a pretty good job pressuring me. These guys actually have relatively good combat stats. 30, 49, and 22. I mean, relatively low output, but their defensive stats are quite fat. So we're going to be charging in, trying to break those guys, but I forgot they were the ROR, so it's going to be a little bit tougher than expected. Right now, there's some repositioning here. As you can see, the Beastmen are going to be cleaning up my troops here, just chasing down my spears and my white lines and things like that. My archers are going to be reforming ranks, and I'm trying to get all my troops back together, trying to get the boys back in town, the band back together, and we're going to be trying to shoot and finish these guys off. But it's still going to be hard. The Beastmen are pretty far ahead in regards to the bounce of power. Teclis is able to clean up some troops over there on the flank, and the archers are just shooting in and, yeah, doing a pretty good job. So the Beastmen are going to be advancing. We do charge in the first group of Cav, because I just wanted to buy as much time as I possibly could for these Lothran Seaguard to try and take out the Minotaurs. But one big issue as well is the fact that the Minotaurs he does have left are the Butchers of Kalkengard. So at this point, we're going to be jumping into the Dragon and trying to escape out through this flank. I figured I had the white lines, I could pull back and through this direction and just buy more time to keep shooting at those Minotaurs. But alas, the Butchers of Kalkengard are just healing through a lot of my damage, and it doesn't look like the Star Dragon is going to be able to get in there safely. I mean, there's spears, there's two elite characters, there's Minotaurs who have pretty good mass. I mean, in a vacuum, the Dragon obviously could beat the Butchers, but in this case, with all that support, the Beast Herd, it's going to be really tough. So Lothran Seaguard, like I said, are kind of like spear units in their own right, so they're able to hold a little bit longer here with their anti-large. The Dragon's also going to be jumping in, trying to get some freebies, just hoping for that sweet, sweet Terror Route. But the Koroks Man Rippers, It looks like they're actually immune to psychology, so not able to break those guys off. And another Spirit Leech is going to be going down on the Star Dragon, and we're getting really close to breaking off these Minotaurs. One of the group so low, and the Butchers of Kalkengard have lost the model as well. Teclis is going to be charging in with his Wizard Cane, going to be trying to slap some of these guys up. But alas, I don't know if we're going to be able to. 10 Butchers left. Star Dragon here. Can we get the Mass Terror out? We're going to find out. And it looks like the support for the High Elves is running a little bit low. I have some white lines coming back in, and the Star Dragon is going to be pulling up into the skies here. But that's pretty much going to be all she wrote, as at this point, Teclis is pretty much going to get surrounded. Potion of Croy is going to get popped. Bounce of Power ebbing back towards the middle here, but the Dragon just doesn't have enough fuel left to kind of get in here and punch these guys out. And Teclis, he's going to try his heart out, but alas, he is a wizard, not a Colic Sun Eater, who might be able to actually win this fight right here. So very well played to King. It was a super fun game for sure. And I liked the build. I thought the build I brought was okay. There was a couple things with the Dragon, but honestly, I'm trying to think. The white lines did kind of get run over a little bit in the front line by the Minotaur Bull Rush, and the Reavers are really good. Reavers are just so good against Beastmen. Probably something I would cut, honestly, would just be the Reaver Archers. They were okay, gave me some good utility, but I felt like they just didn't kind of... I mean, I already have 3 Reavers, and they kind of serve the same purpose. And plus, the targets I had, the Minotaurs with Silver Shields, I just wasn't able to get a lot of value. So, in retrospect, I would probably cut the Reavers, get a little bit more sustainability in my core, a couple more layers of spears, just more there to kind of anchor and hold those Minotaurs in place. Or maybe even get more Lothran Seaguard, just to get a little bit more spray fire and just maybe take those guys down. But yeah, Teclis is good as always, having Nets, Enfeebling Foe, and Regrowth, a very good kit of spells. He heals himself. Teclis is a super competitive lord, so I think he's great. And King's build was awesome. He's had the best scores in the front line. He had the Minotaurs. He had the Baconators. It was a cool, well-rounded army, and he got in there and gave the High Elves that business. So very well played to King of the Dead. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this High Elf versus Beastmen game. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.